just over 1 year in office, Joe Biden can easily be declared as the worst president in American history. His promises are empty, and every move he makes seems to be absolutely destructive. Today we learned inflation hit an all-time high. Prices of the things you buy spiked, the most in 40 years. Everything costs more now, on average 7.5% more than last year at this time.
Inflation in the United States soaring to its highest level in 4 decades. Consumer prices jumped 7.5%.
Inflation is up to its highest level in 4 decades.
You have to go to 1982 to find a higher number.
Be prepared for lots of volatility in 2022.
Now this inflation report is not necessarily looking good for economic growth.
What is worrying from the inflation data this morning was not only that it missed to the upside, but it was the nature of that miss.
It's a disaster, all caused by Joe Biden and his team and their policies. These price hikes are devastating to the American family, and the reality is it could have all been prevented. You see, Joe Biden's mismanagement of our economy, his push for massive government spending and stimulus packages, put so much free cash into the economy, demand soared, but at the worst time possible, because we're still dealing with a very severe supply chain crisis. So he artificially pushed up demand with the infusion of cash at a time when supply is way down. That's a recipe for economic disaster.
Inflation is up. It's up. We're in a situation now where, you should have peace of mind. I know food prices are up, and we're working to bring them down. As I said, I grew up in a family where the price at the pump went up, you felt it, and I understand. But these things are necessities.
Necessities? Talks about peace of mind. Nobody in America has peace of mind right now. Everything is about uncertainty. And now you add in Joe Biden's war on big oil. He continues to do everything he can to limit drilling in America, stop exports, overregulate oil and gas producers. The result, of course, is then soaring gas prices. That means it costs more to deliver goods and services that is to be passed on, of course, to the consumer. So Joe Biden created the inflation tsunami that we now face. This is Joe Biden today.
I'm going to work like the devil to bring gas prices down, which I'm going to working to make sure that we keep strengthening the supply chains to bring the cost of energy and everything else and the goods that come to America down by helping the ports 24/7, by changing a whole range of things that, what's happened with COVID has caused significant increase in prices in the supply chain.
If you're a liberal and you watch him, I want you to be honest with me. Do you have faith in that? Does that instill confidence? Doing everything he can to bring gas prices down? He doesn't have a plan to bring gas prices down unless he starts issuing more permits to start drilling again and he gets out of the way of big oil. That's not happening. What does he do there? He blames the China virus, COVID, for your skyrocketing gas prices. Give me a break. Everything is COVID's fault with this guy. Not the fact that he's trying to phase out oil entirely. And what is the result? Today, the Wall Street Journal estimated that the Biden inflation will cost the average American family $250 more a month. That number is the same whether you are rich or poor, which means inflation takes the most brutal toll on the American families that can least afford it. But you know who benefits from inflation? This is a little secret, by the way. Large corporations benefit. Yes, their cost to produce goods goes up. But during times of inflation, these companies raise their prices at a rate higher than the production cost increases. They use the inflation as an excuse to raise prices even higher than they need to be raised. So in the end, their net margins, their profits, well, they increase. And every analyst will agree with me. Big companies are expected to deliver record margins, profits this year. So Joe Biden's massive inflation gives corporate America the excuse it needs to raise prices higher than they need to cover the increase in costs. That fattens the bottom line of America's Fortune 500 companies, while all of us simply go broke. And here is where it gets a little complicated. See, Joe Biden's monetary policies help put the little guys, the small businesses, out of business. Smaller firms that would normally keep the big ones in check through competition during times of inflation, well, they're now gone. For most of 2021, Team Biden used COVID as an excuse to allow the Fed to buy up debt from America's largest companies. The big guys borrowed money at the cheapest rate in history. But that access to cheap cash was unavailable to small business. Little guys can't sell corporate bonds to the government, so what happened? The little guys went out of business, and the big guys, well, they just keep on raising prices, loaded with cash, thanks to Joe Biden, meaning the big loser, of course, is all of us.
Grant Stinchfield is on Newsmax every night, fighting for the America First agenda.